The results are in. A few incumbents kept their seats, while a number of schools and cities in the area may see some new faces after the May 14th election. Let's get started. In the race for Marble Falls Mayor George Russell, the existing mayor came out on top. He had 282 votes against Russell Buster's 154 votes at 64% that were gained by George Russell. You can see his opponent, Russell Buster, here at his business, the R Bar and Grill in downtown Marble Falls. Buster made no secret of his goal to turn the downtown into a destination for tourists, and had put his hat in the race because he felt like the powers that be weren't moving fast enough.
I have some ideas, so I've been working on it for a long time, and I'd like to see things, moved along a little more expeditiously.
Now back to the winner, Mayor-elect George Russell, seen here at his victory party on election night. He told us he received a cross-section of support from around the area.
There's been quite a bit of support because we've got some major issues here in the city, and water issues, transportation issues, and so forth. And I feel that my experience as a city manager and other experience just sort of weighed out in this particular election.
This is the second successful election for the incumbent. He said he faced a number of challenges, answering questions not only about infrastructure, but taxes, the budget, and sales tax revenue.
This time was a little bit different. I'd been down the road one time, but I didn't know what to expect. There was so much going on in the community, so many different issues and so forth. It was a little more difficult to wrap your arms around them and answer people's questions.
Among some of the issues facing the community are resurfacing roadways as well as water and wastewater services. But for now, the mayor-elect says he will decompress before getting back to work.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm going to take a few days off and relax, and then we'll get down to getting to work.
And the Marble Falls city election outcome in a moment. But first, school board incumbents faced a number of opponents. Some were re-elected, but not all. In the case of Marble Falls Place 4, in that race, Jerry Watson and David Barr lost to incumbent Tommy Chaney. Hot-button issues in this race included the school budget, hiring a superintendent, and personnel. Despite the loss, one candidate counts the experience as a positive one.
There was no negative campaigning toward us. We didn't negative campaign against anybody else. Everybody was very supportive toward me and my campaign and all my supporters, so we had a great time.
Here's a look at how the elections turned out for Place 4 and the rest of the area, including a vote on a wastewater plant in Granite Shoals. For that Place 4 Marble Falls ISD seat, Tommy Chaney, the incumbent, got 40% of the vote. Jerry Watson got 35%, and David E. Barr received 24%. In the Marble Falls ISD Place 3 position, Craig Mabry was the winner with 43% of the vote. Scott Ross received 30%, and Craig Cosgray received 14%, with Bob McCall rounding out that race at 12% of the vote. In the Marble Falls City Council election, Ryan Nash was elected with 22% of the vote. Jane Marie Hurst, 21%. Now those two are a couple of newcomers. And incumbent Sharon Pittard was re-elected with 20% of the vote. In that race, it was the top three vote takers. Now, incumbents David Rhodes and David Ives failed to regain their seats. Those two incumbents only got 18% of the vote each. Now let's turn our attention to races in Burnett, the city and the school district. First, for Burnett City Council, Milton Fair, Kevin Davis were two of the top vote getters. Milton Fair with 21% and Kevin Davis with 16%. But just like the Marble Falls City Council race, there were 3 positions available there, and it looks as though Carlos Buddy Coker and Philip Thurman both received 13% of the vote. That was a dead heat. According to election officials, the final winner is expected to be decided using 2 provisional ballots. We'll keep you posted. The remaining votes for the Burnett City Council race went to challengers Christy Faith, Carl Peel, and Michael Culpepper, who finished in single-digit percentages. Now let's turn our attention to the Burnett CISD election. In Place 3, Martin Riley won that seat with 59% of the vote. Kay Burns received 40%. And in the Place 7 position, Jim Luther won with 60% of the vote. Steve Salinas received 39%. And finally, let's take a look at the vote on a potential wastewater plant in Granite Shoals. The proposition failed. There were 54% of the voters against it and 45% of the voters for it. We have more races for you in detail at the website on your screen. Those races include Meadow Lakes, Cottonwood Shores, Bertram, and Highland Haven.